I want to get your opinion on this one. Why, right? Why do the Dems want to not put up the border wall? We've all famously seen now the video of Hillary Clinton when she was in the Senate advocating for a border wall. We've all seen Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer talking about how we have to protect the American worker, we have to enforce our immigration laws, we've got to build a border wall, we've got to deport people at record numbers. And yet, all of a sudden, there's been a total 180. And the top theory on this is gaming the apportionment map. Take a look at this. This clip went viral. This is a kid named Jeff Mead, real smart kid.
Look at this above my head. This is the 2030 apportionment forecast, which will be based off the 2030 census. So this is predicting if states will increase in electoral votes, decrease in electoral votes, or stay the same. If you pay attention, every single state that's decreasing in electoral votes is blue. Essentially, every state that's green is either red or trending red. You can argue or debate about Georgia, but my overall point still stands. This is terrifying for Democrats, and I'll explain why. This is also likely why Joe Biden let in millions upon millions of illegal immigrants and why we've seen Democrats fighting us so hard to enforce our immigration laws and deport these illegal immigrants.
Now, I fact-checked this, actually. Grok did a little fact-check for me. So here's what it says. Here's a concise report on the 2030 EV apportionment forecasts from the video we just watched, based on sources like Brennan Center and Census Project. Key statements: blue states losing EVs, red trending, blah, blah, blah. Okay, GOP baseline. So projected changes. These are the projected changes. Florida will gain 4 seats. Texas will gain 4 seats. North Carolina will gain 1 seat, all red states. California will lose 4 seats. New York will lose 2. Illinois will lose 1. Minnesota will lose 1. Oregon lose 1. Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Wisconsin all lose 1. So there's no question that it's a concern. And famously, California's had an out-migration of like 1.5 million American citizens, but an influx of roughly, I think, 1 million people who are undocumented. And Newsom went on Sean Ryan. He's like, it's a lie. We've had more people come into California. It's like, yeah, but they're illegal. And of course, the census counts everybody. You don't have to be a citizen. You don't have to be here legally. So overarching theme here is that the Democrats want to game the apportionment map to control Congress and to have more votes in the Electoral College. Do you think there's truth to this, or do you think this is like a QAnon conspiracy theory?
It's actually so much worse than that. Now, it's not only true, Democrats are on camera. Every now and then you'll get one of them. I just mentioned how dumb they are. Every now and then you'll get one of them who will just sit down on camera and they'll flat out tell you that it was a lady, I forget her freaking name. She was a congresswoman, I believe, from New York. She sat down on camera and flat out said, I need all these illegals in my district because that's how I keep my seat. She has to have them. They'll come out and tell you this. It's a simple, it's math to them. It's simple recruitment. In fact, I've warned people, the communists who hate listen to my show and hate watch my show. I've warned them, look, you can hate me all you want, but you understand that you're being left behind too. That you have these videos of, for instance, black people in Chicago screaming at Brandon Johnson. Why are they screaming at Brandon Johnson? Yeah. Because Brandon Johnson, when he gets a new influx of foreigners into his city, he stuffs them into the poor neighborhoods. What are the poor neighborhoods? In general, they're the black neighborhoods. Well, these black people are Americans. They don't want their rec centers full of foreigners. They don't want their schools full of foreigners. They want safe streets and safe everything like everyone else. And they're screaming at them. And you can tell the sense of betrayal they feel. Well, I still don't think they fully digest. Anybody on the Democrat coalition, the domestic coalition, fully has digested what has happened. You're all being left behind. Every single part of the Democrat coalition domestically has been left behind. And it's a simple matter of numbers and affordability, to be frank. If I'm a Democrat politician and I care nothing for the United States of America or anything else, if all I care about is my power, well, if I have these different parts, the feminist coalition and the fake civil rights and all the enviro nut jobs and all that stuff, well, I'll placate them as much as I have to, but It's a lot of work. I have to pass legislation. I have to go out. I have to talk to them, especially when it comes to like the black population. There's nothing more hilarious than watching Democrats humiliate themselves trying to pander to black people. From Gavin Newsom telling them that he plays b-ball. Oh, I know, it's the best. I was eating mac and cheese and playing b-ball. He actually said that on camera. I about died laughing. Pete Buttigieg, who's polling at 0 in the black community for some reason, he was drinking a 40 on camera out of a brown paper bag with a couple black dudes trying to burst his... Anyway, beyond that, they don't want to keep going through these humiliation rituals. You know who you don't have to do that for? The 100,000 people you just brought in from Somalia. You give them a place to eat. You give them a couple welfare checks. You give them access to the state treasury, commit all the fraud you want. Just give them a couple little pieces, a couple little breadcrumbs. They're no trouble at all. I don't have to show up and talk about the hot sauce in my purse. I've brought in a whole new crop of voters. I don't have to mess with any of these domestic freaks who make my life miserable anymore. I've got the new pretty girl in town. She's 50 million new foreigners. They're going to vote Democrat, and their 8,000 kids, they're all going to vote Democrat the rest of their lives as American citizens because of our bonkers law in this country, which says you're an American citizen if you skip across the border and have a baby here. That's the ugly truth of it.
Let's level with each other. I'm guessing for a lot of you, the math is not adding up lately. Between the grocery store and those skyrocketing insurance premiums, even with a steady job, more families are being forced to rely on high-interest credit cards to cover expenses. If you're a homeowner caught in that cycle, carrying balances with interest rates in the 20s or even the 30s, relief is available. Right now, mortgage rates are at a 3-year low, and my friends at American Financing are helping homeowners pay off that high-interest debt at rates in the low 5s. Their salary-based mortgage consultants don't just push loans, they build exit strategies from debt. And on average, they're saving their customers $800 a month. Plus, if you start today, you may even delay the next 2 mortgage payments. There are no upfront fees or obligations to find out how much you can save. Call 866-891-4811. That's 866-891-4811 or visit americanfinancing.net/Jillian. Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, but getting funding from traditional banks is an uphill battle. So of the 36 million small businesses in the U.S., over 70% report needing additional capital every year. Now, while revenue is at an all-time high, big banks are tightening standards and approving fewer loans than ever, leaving owners stuck with mountains of paperwork. But if you want bank rates without the bank delays, check out cardiff.co/Jillian for up to $500,000 in same-day funding. Cardiff is the largest privately held small business lender in the U.S., having funded over $12 billion since 2004. Their application takes less than 5 minutes, has no impact on personal credit, and approvals happen in minutes with same-day funding. Banks try to lock out small businesses. Cardiff has the key. Big banks may not want to approve your business loans, but Cardiff does. So if you've been in business for at least a year and you're pulling in $20,000 a month in revenue, apply now for up to $500,000 in same-day business funding at cardiff.co/Jillian. Again, that's cardiff.co/Jillian. Real growth, fast funding, Cardiff. Borrow better. You know, Brandon Tatum actually said that to me. He said it's diluting the black vote significantly. And of course, you know, I didn't follow it I didn't think of it that way until he pointed out. And Bill O'Reilly also pointed out the same thing, that the communities who are suffering the most because their emergency rooms are overrun, their schools are overfilled, their daycare. And meanwhile, they are struggling to make ends meet. And you've got people who are here and not paying income tax, getting food assistance. In California, there was a bill put forward to give them interest-free loans when people literally cannot afford rent, let alone a house. And there was a study, I think, that came out of HUD that said, I think 2/3 of rentals now are going to people who are undocumented. So they're literally being priced out of their own neighborhood, you know, and then we love this racial narrative, which kills me, despite the fact that I think so many of these ICE officers are of color, and it's hurting people of color disproportionately. Like, this doesn't hurt me. I sometimes want to just turn around and be like, hey, I'm the person that isn't affected by this. I'm the one that gets the cheap labor. I mean, this is hurting the people who you profess to care about the most. I can put my kids in a private school. I can hire a nanny. I can hire a driver. The hypocrisy is astounding. There's one other thing, Jesse, I would like for you to point out to people, or at least correct me if I'm wrong, because I hear this a lot. On this theory of, they're gaming the apportionment map. They're like, well, you've got people who are undocumented in Florida. You've got people who are undocumented in Texas. But those people can then flip the seat from red to blue, correct? So it can actually turn a red state blue if you have people who are undocumented there getting benefits from Democrats or am I getting that wrong?
No, you're not getting it wrong at all. And the Biden administration actually made a very focused effort to do this. For instance, states like Ohio, it was previously, for most of my life, most of your life, a critically important swing state. You really had to win in Ohio in order to win the presidential election. Well, because Democrats hate blue collar people now, they've completely lost Ohio. Ohio is a very red state now. Well, that's a big problem if you're a Democrat. You're a little behind the eight ball on that. So the Biden administration, a lot of people forget about this story. There's a small town in Ohio named Springfield. It's 2,000 people, just a wonderful little, just kind of poor Ohio town, but cool little town. I was born in Ohio, I know it. Well, the Biden administration brought in 2,000 people from Haiti. They completely changed the town like that overnight. Now, those people's kids, where are they going to vote? How are they going to vote? Springfield, Ohio went from being a blood red, blue collar town to a blue town overnight, immediately. Now, the good news is in the red states in the country, in the red areas, which is part of the reason everyone's moving there, this is how immigration enforcement really needs to work. When local law enforcement, sheriffs and police departments encounter someone who's in the country illegally, you just take them down to jail. It's very safe. And then you call up ICE and ICE shows up and they take them away and they deport them. That's you make contact with law enforcement. Okay, you're here. You're breaking the law. Immediately you're gone. The reason it's getting bad in blue places is they inform their police departments, their jails, to simply turn them loose. People don't know these stories. In New York City, for instance, they, knowing ICE was coming, took a bunch of violent foreigners and they just open up the jail doors. They said, get out before ICE gets here. They turned them loose on the population. Now you have women getting raped in the parks. You got all these stabbings, these horrible things happening. Democrats do this on purpose. It's not an accident. It's being done on purpose to you. It's awful. It drives me crazy.
All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking here.